who isn't a wrestler. It could be an athlete, a celebrity, fictional character from TV show. Who would it be with?
Who isn't a wrestler? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. From a TV show, an actor. Oh, I know. This woman, Fast and the Furious.
Ooh.
She's the Spanish woman.
Oh, Michelle Rodriguez?
Michelle.
Yeah.
Because I know she could probably
so
be,
cool.
kick my ass, but I've seen her in the movies, and she looks it looks realistic.
Yeah.
You know when you put a female character that you're like, yeah, she cannot kick anyone else. Let's be exactly. But she looks like she can definitely. I think it would be cool. Yeah, it would be cool. Let's call her.
That's awesome. No, we got to set it up. I know, because I remember watching it years ago when it came out, and she was always with all these guys, like she fit in, like she could beat up on these dudes like nothing.
Yeah, her whole attitude. I mean, and that's a character from the movie. I don't know how she is in real life, but maybe that character from that movie.
She plays it well, yeah.
Yeah. I will get in the ring with her. Maybe exchange a couple punches.
Oh yeah, for sure. How would you see it panning out if it went through?
If I can get her to the ground,
yeah,
maybe I have a chance. But if she had good training and she gets me in the jaw, I'll be done. 1, 2, 3.
First introduced into wrestling. Like, how did you become a fan?
From the beginning, you're taking me way back in memory. So again, I'm from Puerto Rico, right? So I don't know if you know, but in Puerto Rico, we have 2 major companies, WWC and IWA, local channels. So everyone was stick to their TVs, not phones at that time, watching the shows. And there were only a few women there. One of them was called La Tigresa. It was this heel character. She could beat your ass easily, and she was always like screaming, and she's pointing at people, and she was evil, and she fought with men and with women, so whatever. So I was watching this show, and I was like, I would like to do that. I'm pretty sure I can do that. And then eventually in the show there were other women that came on. April Hunter was there. April Hunter, I don't know if you know who she is, but she's here in the States too. I don't know if she still wrestles, but April Hunter, I think Lita went to IWA before she was, Lita, as we know her now. And I was like, always, okay, I would love to do that. Anyways, long story short, I went to one of the shows. I went to several shows, and I was like, how do I learn this stuff? Where is this? Because again, social media at that time, you couldn't go and find schools and whatnot. So I went there and I asked, I think the sound guide or something, where could I train? And then he told me, you can train with Ricky Banderas, or El Mesías, Cien Almas, something like that, in companies here in the United States. So I went with him. So that's how I started. I watched the show and I was like, I can do that. I want to do that. I don't want to do the dancing. I don't want to do the brand panties. I want to do what she's doing, fighting men and fighting, wrestling and stuff. So I started training with Ricky. That was tough. When you don't know anything about anything in wrestling, and I was young. I think I was 18, 19, something like that. That was horrible. I mean, it was great, but it was horrible. The training was brutal. And then after that, I trained with him for some time, and then I trained with someone. He's called El Profe. He's very well known also in the island, and he had more so a Mexican style of lucha. So he teach me the huracanadas and leg scissors and flip and all this stuff, and so I jumped a lot. So it was with him, with El Profe, that I got my chance to wrestle for IWA. I did a tryout for them back in 2001 or something like that. And they got me, they hired me to work for them. And then from there, I started a storyline with Apollo. I don't know if you know who he is, but with Apollo, I was his family's cousin or something like that. And then from then I trained with someone else. I trained with Ricky Cruz in Puerto Rico also. And then I left. and I came to the United States. So basically it was me watching TV. I want to do that. How do I do it? Find out, go ahead and do it. Nice. And then go from there.
Well, that's awesome because we hear a lot of stories very similar, but we hear like people kind of waiting a little hesitant, but you watched and you're like, no, I'm going to jump in.
No, because because I don't know if I mentioned, I can be a bit obsessive. If I want to do something, I am going to find a way to do it. So but when I started practicing with Ricky, it was like 2 hours from where I lived. So I drove 2 hours twice a week there, finish practice, drive 2 hours back. And I was in college and I had 2 jobs. Man, it was terrible, but it was great because I was doing, I was like, I'm going to do it and stuff. And then I moved to a training class closer to where I was, maybe an hour away. And it was wonderful when I did the tryout and they told me, we're going to give, you want to do this and this and that. And then when I was in the locker room and I met the woman, La Tigresa, that I watched her on TV, and I was doing an angle with her, I was like, this is it. I could die tomorrow. Wow. This is great. Because my motivation was her and the people that I saw in the local, not necessarily WWE, women. Eventually, so you like the Litas and the Victorias and stuff, but to me, it was her from local wrestling promotions. Yeah.
Watching her from a fan, and then now jumping in the ring with her, like, how did that feeling? Was it surreal or like?
It was wonderful. So I remember they told me, you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that, and I was already all dressed and ready, and I was waiting for her because you don't want to, interrupt anything that she's doing. I didn't want to. So I went in to introduce myself. You don't want to be so kayfabe, right? You want to be like, nice to meet you and stuff. Like, compose yourself, woman. And then don't say anything stupid. And she was so nice. She was like, it's glad, I'm happy that you're here. And she made a joke because I was going to kick her. And she was like, kick me 3 times. And I was like, oh my God, she's telling me to kick her 3 times. Yeah. This is great. I was so happy, man. I think I have a picture of that first, maybe the 3rd or 4th show that we did together. Because at first we didn't have a match first. We had, the storyline builds up. So we were doing little vignettes in the back. Yeah. In the locker room or whatnot. But we had a big show, and that's when we had like a really fight before we had a match. But it was great. Sometimes they say, careful when you meet your heroes, or don't meet your heroes, or something like that. But in my case, it was like, this is amazing. I met her and she was completely different and that's how it's supposed to be, completely different from the character that I watched, because she was evil. So even though I knew it's a character, I was, paying my respects and keeping my distance. So like, this woman can kill me if she wants. So when I met her, it was wonderful. And it was great, man.
That's awesome. It's awesome because like I admired like the dedication. Like, you have to drive 2 hours back and forth. You're working your jobs, college, and then you're doing your wrestling thing. Like, that's really awesome to hear. Also,
I'm gonna tell you a story before you jump to the other question. And sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're fine.
I remember the first training classes. I don't know why he did the whole, when you're learning to bump, take a back bump, the whole squat down, chest, break your fall. Yeah. But it was like, do 50 or do 75 of those in a row. Man, I'm telling you, that first day I did that, when I was driving back home, I couldn't hold my head above my shoulders.
Wow. I can imagine.
Because the neck, it was so stressed out. And it was like, how am I going to, because I was powerlifting at that time. I was like, how am I going to tell my coach that I cannot hold my head above the shoulders? Yeah. It was a whole process, but it's you're young and you're like, if you can do it and you want it, whatever you do, whatever you have to do. Yeah.
No, that's what I was gonna jump into. How was like training? Did it consist of like, was it like a normal day, or how did it consist of?
I hope Ricky's not watching this, or he never watched. So it was tough, man. And there's some other trainees that have trained with him that can attest to this. Maybe the class had maybe, I don't know, like 10 people or 15 people that started, and you see week after week, no, where is this one? No longer here. She's not coming back. He's not coming back. It was tough because it was a lot of conditioning. So if he said we're doing squats now, we're doing 200 squats. Wow. If he said like I said, we're breaking the fall, you're doing 75. And you're not done until you're done, or until you cannot do it anymore. If you're doing flip bumps, the flip bumps, you're doing 25 in a row. So it was tough. I remember also when I was learning so at the beginning I was in my mind, when is he going to teach us to run the ropes? Because you envision yourself running the ropes, you're pretending to be a wrestler. And I regret asking myself that, because when we started learning to it, he would have us run, I don't know, for like 3 minutes. So at the next day you had, I don't know if you run the ropes in a ring, you had the whole marks, the 2 or 3 ropes in your back, in your lower back, and all sore and swollen. It was insane. So his training was insane. The same with abs. I remember when he used to tell us to do the crunches and stuff. This doesn't work. You don't have to do this. You would be in the crunch position in the floor, and then he would walk on top of us, like on top of our abs. I was like, what is this guy doing? It was insane. It was insane. I laugh now. At the moment, I was like, what the hell is happening here? But you don't know any better, right? You don't. I went by myself. I didn't have anyone to go with me. I didn't have any friends that practice. Anyone that I knew that was in wrestling. So to me, that was like, holy cow, this is how it is, I guess. Then when you get, a bit more maturity and you go to different places and you're like, okay, there's other ways to get this done, which was my experience. But I don't regret being there. It opened my eyes to, this is stuff. Are you really sure that you want to do this? That's good.
You think in a certain way it helped you for like that mentally, like toughness?
Yes. That, because he would say it. He would say it every time. Like, if you can't take this, then how are you gonna wrestle 4 times a week? Because over there there were shows Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and you're bumping and you're exercising and you're taking falls and you're lifting people up. So it was, if you're complaining about this, this hurts, then you're not suited for this, and give up, do something else. So, but
no, it's true.
Yeah, that's what my first lesson from him was, do you really want this? Then prove it here. If you can, then do something else.
No, it's true. I was curious too. You said it started around like 13, 15 people. How many end up like finishing the program?
I think 1 guy or 2 guys. I left. I went to train with El Profe, like an hour closer to where I was. I think there was only 1 or 2 guys. And he made what we call made it over there. He went to WWC and IWA too. But that tells you how tough. And it's interesting because, having a wrestling school is a business still, right? You don't want people to leave, right? You want people to stay. So that tells you that he really wanted to build strong wrestlers, because he didn't care if you leave. If you leave, then it means this is not for you. We'll get someone else. So it's again, well, I get why he did what he did.
Match, like finally getting into the ring for the first time.
Oh, it was great, man. It was wonderful. It was a tag match, and if you hear some crying, it's my dog, so don't mind.
Oh, no worries.
Okay. It was a tag match. I remember it like if it was today. Well, not completely the spots or anything, but I remember it was a big show. It was a first match because it was a tryout. It was a tag match, and I remember it because I was going to do my first with fans, my first dive from the 3rd row, and I felt like, I'm flying. This is great. So it was great. I wasn't nervous or anything because I by that time I have been training for a year and a half, maybe.
Mhm.
And I trusted the guys, they trained with me. So I was like, oh, this is easy. The difficult part is when you're wrestling with people that you don't know, right? You don't know their style and you don't necessarily trust them and whatnot. But my first match was great. After that, that completely make me understand or accept that, yes, I want to keep doing this. This is not a one-off. I want to keep doing this for as long as I possibly can.
Different wrestlers, like, and you had your mentors. Was there any advice that you got that you still keep with you, like to this day?
Yes, I think from Sabio Vega. When I was in IWA, he was one of the bookers, and then you had Chuck and one of the bushwalkers. But from Savio, it was great because and he made it so simple to understand. He used to tell us that a match was like eating. Like first you have to grab the food, whatever you have to see it, and then you bite it, and then you chew it, and then you swallow it. So the way you go about a match, you have to kind of like take the same approach. You got to slowly introduce your character, right? You go into the match, you establish who's the good person, who's the bad person, then you do something. Then the chewing part is like it's more the spots and the high spots and maybe the comeback, and then you swallow it as a finish. So and he had a bunch of other weird ways to explain things. But it was nice because he put it, we were young kids back then, he would put it in a way that you need to, slow down, think this through, take it one step at a time, listen to the crowd reaction, that sort of, and that's something that I've always taken with me. Like you want to do stuff, but you cannot do 20,000 spots and then finish with a small package like we see a lot today, right? So that kind of like, I always like that old school mentality, classic wrestling, realistic wrestling. So
someone that wants to join the business, wants to become a wrestler.
So first of all, make sure that you really want it and it's not just a nice to do sort of thing, right? It's not a weekend interest, right? Or anything like that. Make sure you want to do it and understand the reason why you want to do it, right? Do you want to do it because you want to be famous? Do you want to do it because you want to compete? You want to do it because you want to entertain? Understand the reasoning behind you wanted to do certain things, because that will help you in your career, depending on the success or not that you have, right? So first, understand why you want to go into wrestling. Second of all, go to a school, please. Please go to a school. And go to a good school. Don't go to a school that is your friends in a 10 by 10 ring. Nothing bad about 10 by 10 ring, but the 12 by 12 is small. But go to a good school. Learn the basics. Don't rush it. Don't try to have a match 2 months after you start training. Wait until your trainer tells you you're ready, because that's something that happens a lot. You go to a training school and then you start talking to other promoters in other companies and then asking them to book you, and you're not ready and you messed up. So understand why you're doing it. Go to a school, to a class, listen to your trainer, wait for him to tell you you're ready to then have a match, and shut your mouth and listen. They always tell you that. Everyone tells you that in wrestling. You have to shut your mouth, open your ears, because people that give you feedback, whether you like the feedback or not, they do it for the most part for the best, right? They want you to be successful. They don't want you to hurt yourself or hurt anyone. So just listen to the feedback that everyone's telling you and be respectful and humble. More than anything, be respectful of whomever you're going to be in the ring with. Be a professional. I know we've seen some situations where people are unprofessional in the ring after a match or during a match.
Oh yeah.
That's the worst thing ever in life that you can do. Be professional, be humble, and be respectful, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
You had some of
Of
her matches
course.
earlier, and then I believe that you had her last match also. How was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
experience working with her? And did you think she would go that far when you were training with her?
So I had my first match. Her first match was with me too.
Oh
So
wow.
she started. I was already working for NECW, New England Championship Wrestling. They had a women's division, sort of. So there were a few of us there, and then she came in to have her first match. And usually, it's good to put like in tag matches, just in case to help each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember, and she would remember that. She was so happy after the match. She started crying. I mean, sometimes
Wow.
you see her in TV that she's always crying.
Yeah.
She always
Yeah.
cries.
That was just a normal thing.
She is
Wow.
so sweet. She's so she was very sweet. And I remember when she came in with her training, Nikki Rock's Roxy. She was in TNA Roxy. So
Oh yeah.
Roxy brought her over to have that match, that tag match with me and some two others. I don't remember the name. Yeah. And she was nervous. And I was like, no, it's gonna be fine. What do you want to do? Because you got to give her some shine so that she shines in her debut and stuff. Yeah. So she was great, very respectful, very a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
So she would shut up and open. How I say, close your mouth, open your ears.
Just listen.
Yeah. Listen. And that match is in YouTube too. It was good. She did great. It was a great she was a great baby face, a natural baby face, how they call it. It was great. And after that, obviously we know she was good, right?
Yeah.
So other companies started booking her, and we were kind of like the same group of women wrestling in the Northeast at that time.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of matches until eventually she had that last match with me, and I think that was my last match too. After that, I stopped wrestling, and that was because she was already signed by WWE NXT or whatever it was called that back then. But yeah, I sometimes people did say, I have no doubts this person was gonna make it, but I'm truly saying it. I didn't know if she wanted to go that route, because you don't know, right? You don't know what the interests of the people are. But she was so young back then. She was like 21, 22, something like that. And she was talented, and she was obviously beautiful. So I said, oh, if she wants to go there, they'll grab her, because she's at the ripe age to start a career over there. And that's exactly what happened. She went there. And she is, I live vicariously through her, because she's done everything and more that you could ever want to do at that stage, movies and everything. Shows.
Oh yeah.
Shows and everything. And like, I'm sure she's got a long, successful career in front of her.
Oh yeah.
She's great. And she's I can genuinely say that she's earned it, and she deserves it. She's a good person.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you said, like what she does now, like she's still almost like, it feels like she just started yesterday. She's so early in her career, and she's like constantly doing stuff and still going. It's like, how long is she gonna go for?
She's young. She's not even 30 yet, I think.
I know.
Maybe not 29, something like that. So yeah, she's good. As long as she stays healthy, physically healthy and mentally sane, then she'll accomplish anything she wants.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't wait to see the years to come to see what's next for her. And also, you mentioned.
But there's a lot of women. I was saying in the indie circuit here from other companies that I would like to wrestle. And that I'm sure I'll have the opportunity, moving forward, probably next year. But anyone, I would like to wrestle Thunder Rosa.
Wow.
If I could choose someone, and I don't care if it's in AEW or her company down south or whatnot. She's friends with Black Rose. I might call her.
Polo,
La
yeah.
Rosa
We'll pull
Negra.
it
Yeah.
up.
Listen, I wrestled her when I was in WWE in Puerto Rico. She's awesome. Listen, make this happen. I'll go to Texas to wrestle Thunder. But I will wrestle her. I like her style. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't have any interest, obviously, not obviously, but I don't have any interest in WWE. AEW is good because the women's division there is great, and we might do something next year in AEW. Fingers and toes closed.
Everything
maybe.
crossed right now.
Everything crossed. Everything crossed. They're great in giving opportunity to women and to guys to have dark matches and stuff. That's good. Do a job. Doing a job is not bad. People will still consider doing a job is bad. So they're good giving opportunities to newcomers and whatnot. So maybe something there. But yeah, if I was at that level, I would like to wrestle Thunder Rosa. That's it.
Nice. No, we gotta make it happen. I gotta.
Yeah, imagine that. What?
Post it.
2 minutes. That's it. Even if you give me a hit and that's it, and you're finished, I'll take it.
That's it. If she's listening, Thunder Rosa or anyone around Thunder Rosa's circle,
yeah, make it happen. Book it.
We gotta book it. Awesome. Another thing too, I want to ask you. Now